Tonight, you will fall asleep without thinking twice about tomorrow's sunrise. Your body assumes it. Your plants assume it. Every cell in you is quietly betting on it. But what if that bet failed? What if the sun simply didn't come up? This isn't science fiction. It's a real thought experiment that astrophysicists actually run. Columbia University researcher David Kipping has modeled exactly this scenario for his Cool Worlds lab, tracing what happens minute by minute, day by day, year by year. And the answer is far stranger and far faster than most people expect. Start with the first 8 minutes. Light from the sun takes about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach Earth. So even in this impossible scenario, you wouldn't notice anything at first. The sky would still be blue, shadows would still fall normally. You'd walk outside and feel nothing wrong. Then, at minute 8, the light simply stops arriving. No warning, no gradual dimming. Just an instant, total darkness, as if someone reached up and switched off a bulb. Would you even understand what was happening? Probably not right away. The immediate darkness would be disorienting, but it's not what kills you first. Temperature is. Earth's atmosphere holds heat, but not much and not for long. Within the first week, global average temperatures would begin a steep collapse. Within a month, surface temperatures could plunge below freezing almost everywhere on the planet. Within a year, estimates from planetary scientists suggest average temperatures could fall to negative 50 degrees Celsius or lower. Not a bad winter. A world where liquid water barely exists on the surface at all. Here's the part that surprises people. The oceans would save you for a while. Water holds heat far better than air or land. That's basic thermodynamics, the same principle that makes coastal cities milder than inland deserts. Oceanographers estimate the top layer of the ocean could stay unfrozen for years, maybe longer, acting like a massive thermal battery, slowly bleeding warmth into the atmosphere. So the coasts, ironically, would become humanity's last refuge. Not because the sun still touched them, but because the water underneath remembered it. Meanwhile, something else would be dying, quietly, everywhere. Plants. Photosynthesis needs light, full stop. Without it, most plant life would begin to fail within days and collapse within a couple of weeks. And here's where the food chain doesn't just wobble. It falls straight down like a line of dominoes. Herbivores starve. Carnivores starve next. Humans, sitting at the top of that chain, would find supermarket shelves emptying within days as supply systems broke down, followed by farmland failing entirely within a season. Could humanity survive on stored food alone? For a while. Not forever. This is where the story stops being about physics and starts being about people. Behavioral scientists who study isolation and darkness, including Harvard sleep researcher Charles Czeisler, have spent decades studying what happens to the human body when it's deprived of natural light cycles. Circadian rhythms, your internal 24-hour clock, depend heavily on sunlight to stay synced. Remove the sun entirely and that clock begins to drift almost immediately. Sleep disorders spike. Mood disorders spike even faster. Czeisler's research on shift workers and polar station scientists, people who already live for months without a normal sunrise, shows elevated rates of depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline within just weeks of disrupted light exposure. Now imagine that same effect, but permanent and global. There's a strange psychological twist buried in Czeisler's research too. It's not total darkness that breaks people down the fastest. It's uncertainty. Antarctic researchers who know exactly when the light will return cope far better than those in ambiguous, open-ended isolation. In a world with no sun and no promise of its return, that uncertainty wouldn't just be background stress. It would be the defining condition of every waking moment left. So what would people actually do? History already gives us a clue, oddly enough, from volcanic winters. In the year 1816, a massive volcanic eruption at Mount Tambora threw enough ash into the atmosphere to dim the sun for months across the northern hemisphere. Historians call it the year without a summer. Crops failed across Europe and North America. Food riots broke out. Prices for basic grains spiked by hundreds of % in a matter of weeks. And that was with the sun still shining, just muted, just weakened for a single season. Now stretch that same collapse across permanent darkness and multiply it by every nation on Earth simultaneously. Governments in this scenario would face an impossible calculation almost overnight. Which regions get the last of the fuel reserves? Which crops, if any, can survive under artificial grow lights powered by fading electrical grids? Energy engineers point out that nuclear and geothermal power could theoretically keep small pockets of civilization running for years, since neither depends on sunlight at all. But scaling that up to feed billions of people, all at once, all in winter that never ends, isn't a technology problem. It's a math problem, and the math doesn't favor everyone surviving. Is there any version of this where humanity simply adapts and moves on? Partially, yes. Microbial life would do something remarkable. Deep-sea ecosystems near hydrothermal vents already live without sunlight entirely, powered instead by chemical energy rising from the Earth's crust. Biologists studying these vent communities note they'd barely notice the sun disappearing at all, since they never depended on it to begin with. Life, in its smallest and strangest forms, might carry on almost unaffected, quietly running on heat from the planet's own core while everything above it froze solid. There's something oddly humbling in that. The oldest forms of life on Earth turn out to be the ones least dependent on the very thing every visible ecosystem above them assumes is permanent. Which brings us back to you and your ordinary evening. You didn't check whether the sun would rise tomorrow before you went to sleep tonight. You didn't need to. It's not a belief you hold consciously. It's a certainty baked so deep into how your body works that questioning it feels almost absurd. Your sleep cycle depends on it. Your food depends on it. Every plant, every animal, every drop of water cycling through weather systems above your head depends on a nuclear fusion reaction happening 93 million miles away, one that has been quietly running, uninterrupted, for 4.5 billion years. That reliability is not nothing. It is, statistically, one of the most stable processes in the observable universe, and one you have never once had to think about. So tomorrow, when you wake up and light finds its way through your window without asking permission, without announcement, without any effort on your part at all, take a second longer than usual to notice it. Because for nearly all of human history, and every hour of your own life so far, sunrise has never once needed you to believe in it. It just kept showing up, until in some far distant future, quietly and without warning, it might not.